Some of the world's most frightening villains live in imaginary places. The Wicked Witch lives in Oz, the Joker in Gotham City. Darth Vader lives, well, in a galaxy far, far away. But when it comes to the home of the world's most terrifying vampire, it's a much different story. Transylvania is actually a real place, and its most legendary resident might not be so imaginary either. It's the dead of winter in the real Transylvania, a region of Romania that's practically synonymous with Dracula. On Transylvania's southern edge, in the village of Bran, market vendors are cashing in on this location's connection to everyone's favorite vampire.
We are very lucky because of the legend of Dracula. It's good business, yes.
The legend of Dracula began with a novel written by Bram Stoker in 1897. But it turns out Stoker never actually set foot in Transylvania. So speculation swirls over what locations and what people might have inspired him. For many, the answers lie at nearby Bran Castle. Built in the 1300s, the castle was intended to stop the advancing Ottoman Empire. But what makes this place famous and controversial is its eerie resemblance to the castle described in Stoker's novel. Experts have debated the connection for over a century. So, to get to the bottom of it, I've arranged special access to this legendary fortress.
Bună seara! Welcome to Bran Castle. Walk with me inside.
Matej and his team have done amazing work, transforming the castle's interiors into a living replica of Stoker's novel.
We are now at the third floor, and we go where they used to serve the dinner.
Working here for the past 14 years, Matej is what you'd call a Dracula mega fan, and he believes this really was the castle that inspired Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker never visited Transylvania. He saw a picture of the castle, he fell in love, he realized that it's a perfect location for his story, and because Bram Stoker wrote the book, you are here today and I have a job.
Can't argue with that. And in fact, Matej takes his job pretty seriously, giving guests an experience straight out of the book. In case you haven't read it, the book follows an English lawyer named Jonathan Harker, who travels to Romania to cut a real estate deal with the reclusive Count Dracula. He makes the long journey and then, well, Matej can take it from here.
In the story, when Jonathan Harker arrived here, Dracula served him the wine. He invited Jonathan Harker to raise the wine. He looked to Dracula and he said, "Why you don't raise the glass with me?" Dracula looked back and he said, "Well, I don't drink wine."
Because he drinks blood, because he's totally a vampire. That's why he said that. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
We want for our guests to stay and experience exactly what was going on that night. This is where you're gonna sleep overnight. We prepare for you 2 coffins, original, handmade in Transylvania.
Dracula himself sleeps like this in many tellings of the tale, rising in the dark of night to instill terror in his guests and get a taste of fresh blood. It's a frightening place to bed down, but imagine how it would feel to actually be confined here, as legend holds one historical figure was, back in the 15th century. I'm talking about the real Dracula, on whom the character is based.
The name of the character comes from the Romanian word Dracul, which means the devil. Dracula, it's the son of the devil, the son of Satan.
The prisoner's full name was Vlad III Dracula, or Vlad Tepes. His father wasn't Satan, but a member of a secret group called the Order of the Dragon. which tasked itself with defeating the Ottoman Empire. Vlad III was also in the order, and his lust for power gained him many enemies, like the Saxons, who imprisoned and tortured him here at Bran Castle. But that's not where his story ends. High among Romania's Carpathian Mountains, 40 miles southwest of Bran, stands Panari Fortress, a castle once inhabited by a real historical figure called Dracula. And getting to his chilling refuge requires a climb that I'm thankful to have checked off my bucket list. Count 'em, folks, 1,480 steps, often under deep snow. It's one heck of a hike. But for those wishing to understand the real Dracula, and for those who work at the site, there's no way around it.
I maintain these mannequins once or twice a week, depending on the weather. These mannequins are historical examples of Vlad's torture.
Vlad III was the Prince of Wallachia, a region bordering Transylvania. During his reign, the area faced threats, both externally from invading Ottomans and internally from Romanian groups feuding for power. Vlad wasn't always victorious, but he was infamous for getting his way in the end, by having his army brutally impale his enemies. The unlucky victims often suffered for days before dying. Still, many modern Romanians have a surprising view of the man who became known as Vlad the Impaler.
People when came here and they get the impression that Vlad Tepes was a bad ruler, but he was not. He did horrible things, but for protecting the country.
Despite being responsible for the deaths of an estimated 80,000 people, Vlad III is credited today with bringing order and stability to the region. Incredibly, many view him as a true Romanian folk hero. But here's the real kicker. Legend has it that Vlad died in battle around 1476, but his body was never found. So who knows, maybe his bloodlust did carry on into the afterlife. And at the very least, he put Transylvania on the map.